Lewis Hamilton has made a super surprising move out of complete nowhere and announced that he is going to Ferrari in 2025. And here are all the details in one place about everything that has happened in the last 24 hours. So here's what happened. Basically, this morning, we all woke up to news from Sky Sports F1 and ESPN and all your affiliates from wherever you are in the world, saying that Lewis Hamilton has decided that he's going to Ferrari next year. And I'm going to be honest, I was either in doubt or just didn't want to believe it. But basically, long story short, it ended up being true. Mercedes put out a statement saying, the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team and Lewis Hamilton will be parting ways at the end of the 2024 season. Lewis has activated a release option in his contract that he signed in last August, and this season will therefore be his last season driving for the Silver Arrows. This news brings an end to what is currently a 17-year-long relationship in F1 with Mercedes-Benz and an 11-year-long partnership with the Works team. Here's what Toto Wolff had to say. In terms of driver pairing, our relationship with Lewis has become the most successful the sport has seen, and that's something we can look back on with pride. Lewis will always be an important part of the Mercedes motorsport history. However, we knew our partnership would come to a natural end at some point, and that day has now come. We're going to talk about whether or not it's actually a natural end here in a second. We accept Lewis's decision to seek a fresh challenge, and our opportunities for the future are exciting to contemplate. But for now, we still have one season to go, and we are focused on going racing to deliver a strong 2024. And then here's what Lewis said. This is the only statement we've gotten from Lewis Hamilton, period. Man, whatever journalist is going to get the interview with him about this, good Lord, they're going to be making bank that day. I had an amazing 11 years with the team, and I'm so proud of what we have achieved together. Mercedes has been part of my life since I was 13 years old. It's a place where I have grown up, so making the decision to leave was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. But the time is right for me to take this step, and I'm excited to be taking on a new challenge. I will forever be grateful for the incredible support of my Mercedes family, especially Toto for his friendship and leadership, and I want to finish on a high together. I'm 100% committed to delivering the best performance I can this season and making my last year with the Silver Arrows one to remember. Whew, that's a lot to unpack. We'll talk about the why here in a second. I just want to kind of keep going over what exactly happened. So basically how this all worked out via various sources. Lewis told Toto yesterday, but we've heard that Toto wasn't even actually at the factory or even in England when this happened. So Toto was not expecting this. And then Lewis apparently took his team out to like play paintball or something this morning or yesterday. It's kind of unclear, and told them casually then. And then they had the official team meeting today. And that's when I personally started actually believing this was going to happen, because Sky Sports had someone outside of the factory and were asking them what was talked about, and they were just straight up like, yep, Lewis is leaving. Obviously, so they talked about activating a clause in his contract. I find that super interesting because I always thought it was a little weird when they announced the contracts last year, because we found out that George and Lewis signed their extensions in May, but they didn't announce them till August, which I found super odd. Because, you know, why wait that long? So was Lewis on the fence the whole time? It's hard to, only he knows how he was feeling this whole time, because he never let on that this was going to happen. In fact, with all the Ferrari rumors, he constantly just didn't like ever acknowledge them. Or if he did, he was like, I'm 100% committed to Mercedes. I'm committed to Mercedes. This also kind of brings up Leclerc, because Leclerc has been their number one guy for a long time. Well, apparently this has been in the works for a while, because Leclerc knew when he signed his extension that Lewis Hamilton was going to be his teammate next year. This also brings up what's going to happen to Carlos Sainz, because obviously he's out of a seat. You know, this links with the details that we've been hearing after Leclerc signed his contract, that Sainz's negotiations had stalled. I mean, stalled might not even be the right word. They just totally broke down and it was done. So also, I just want to take a moment to say that Ferrari put out the lamest statement ever. They just said, Scuderia Ferrari is pleased to announce that Lewis Hamilton will be joining the team in 2025 on a multi-year contract. And just post a picture of their logo. You're getting the GOAT. That's the best you can do. So anyway, I'll give them a break. Maybe their social media person took the worst time to be on holiday ever. So now the big question, why? Why did this all happen? Why is Lewis leaving Mercedes and going to Ferrari? There's lots of potential reasons floating out there. I mean, there were connections to him at Ferrari last season. Him and Leclerc have been all chummy for like a long time. And, that was like, oh, there's a sign, Also, Monster leaving Mercedes and going to McLaren as a sponsor, but keeping Lewis Hamilton as an athlete. That seemed a little off. I mean, obviously, even the hat I'm wearing now has a Monster logo on it. So, it's one of those things. It's like all this stuff seems odd. And then there gets into kind of the guts of it, which is the engineering problems that Mercedes has been having for the last 18 months, 2 years. Obviously, Mercedes leaves off 2021. They have the best car in 2021. They win the Constructors. There's no arguing that. We're not going to talk about Abu Dhabi. They go into 2022 and they get it entirely wrong. There's a new technical director, Mike Elliott, as James Allison stepped into another role. James Allison, everybody thinks is, the best one, and he's back in control now. So all of us were kind of like, all right, James Allison's the W15. It's going to be a good car. Then Toto comes out like a week or two ago and says, it feels like a car for the first time in 2 years. So all things were looking up. And then this ominous photo drops that everybody looked into too much then and is still looking in too much now, but it does make a little more sense, of this photo of Lewis Hamilton sitting at the factory and he's getting his seat fitting and he looks unhappy, uncomfortable. And my brain went, don't listen to that. Maybe in denial. Don't listen to that. He's just uncomfortable in the seat, because we've been hearing that the car is going to be more like he wants it and he's going to be a little further back and all this stuff. But there's no way that Lewis decided to jump ship because he was uncomfortable at his seat fitting. Let's just leave all of that out of this, because there's no way that's the case. In terms of engineering, there's a man that goes by the name of Loic Sur. I think that's how you say his name. Forgive me if that's not how you say it. But he was one of the key engineering people at Mercedes. And there's this article by RacingNews365.com that kind of goes more into detail with this. And he was the head of vehicle performance for Mercedes before being poached for Ferrari starting next year. So starting in 2025. Apparently, Sarah was at odds with Mercedes technical director Mike Elliott and disagreed with the direction of the W13 and W14. And it seems as though only Lewis and this guy agreed. And everybody else was kind of like, no, trust us. We have this great idea. So it seems like these two were tightly knit, and him being at Ferrari is a major reason why I think he's going. But the biggest reason, in my opinion, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about it, is Lewis has his quote earlier in the year when he was denying Ferrari rumors, ironically. But he said that he wanted to stay at Mercedes as long as he felt like he could contribute. And I think he realized that he had built the team as far as the team was going to be able to build around him, and it's time to go build another team. I'm not saying Ferrari is in the same place that Lewis and Mercedes was when Mercedes became a works team, but I do think we can all agree that Ferrari's been without a championship for a long time, a way longer time than any of us would anticipate. And Lewis has had a year of watching Vasseur and see how he does, and it's gone much better. I mean, sure, they dropped in the championship, the reliability, there's a whole lot of things that goes into it. But I think Lewis wants to go and win a championship with Ferrari and just cement himself as the greatest of all time. And again, no one can be upset with him for wanting to drive to Ferrari. It's not like he's going to Haas. It's not like he's making a terrible decision. He's going to Ferrari because it's the team. As Sebastian Vettel says, everybody is a Ferrari fan, whether they say it or not. So how do I feel about this? So I've been ignoring my friends all day who have been texting me, asking me, hey, how do you feel about this? Because I've been waiting to talk to a wall and a camera first. People have been saying, so Nick, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a Ferrari fan now? And no, yes, not exactly. I've decided, and I think this was always going to be the answer, because I just have to pretend like Lewis is retiring for a second. I was always going to continue to be a Mercedes fan. there's no way that I was not going to be a Mercedes fan. All the people that I watched Formula One with got into Formula One because of how much I love Formula One, and they started watching it with me, and then it just spread like a disease in a good way, but you know, I fell in love with Formula One because of Lewis Hamilton. It's tough. It's going to be hard to watch Lewis drive for another team. Just seeing these renders of him in the Ferrari suit is like just off-putting. I'm going to continue. I will always be a Mercedes fan, and I will always be a Lewis Hamilton fan. What shirt I'm going to wear to a race, haven't figured that out yet. But long-term, I'm a Mercedes fan. For a time being, I will follow Lewis where he goes. And also, just as a side note, this set isn't quite done yet. There's some few things I want to tinker with. But the most ironic thing is, as I was setting this set up, I had a bunch of Ferrari cars, and I was like, I'm not a Ferrari fan. Like, why do I have so many Ferrari cars? Whatever. I mean, everybody's a Ferrari fan, so I guess I'll just make it part of my shelf. Little did I know that there was going to be a 44 on one of these model cars pretty soon. So, and the good news is, at least it seems like Lewis Hamilton will be in the sport past 2025. At least he signed a deal saying that's how long it was. I mean, I guess he could retire at any time. But so silly season is about to be the craziest it's probably been ever. And Lewis has just made it more complicated because now there's a seat open that we didn't even think that was going to be open. So it's not meant to last. Not everything's meant to last. So Lewis, thank you. I'm proud of you for making a tough decision. I think this is what your heart wanted to do for a long time, and I understand that how hard this probably was. So don't listen to everybody. Do your thing. Go win more championships, and you know, at least you're not going to Red Bull. So put Red Bull away wherever you are. So, all right, that's been it. I guess I got to get used to wearing more red hats now. So talk to you later. Bye.